My name's Megan Bruce and the module I teach is called Academic Practice. There are two types of module. There's Academic Practice for Social Scientists and Academic Practice for Arts and Humanities. Every Arts and Humanities or Social Science student in the Foundation Centre takes this module. And this module teaches you how to do the right thing in British higher education. The other modules that you take on the course will tell you all of the information that you need to know in terms of content for the degree route that you'll go on to do, and your Academic Practice module teaches you how best to express this information in a way that's most acceptable in British higher education. Another way of expressing the concepts that we teach in Academic Practice is to talk about the community of practice of higher education. There are many different communities of practice you'll be inducted into during your foundation year, ones for your specific subject area, ones for your faculty. An Academic Practice module looks at the community of practice of all of higher education. We look at four main skill areas in this module: reading, writing, speaking and listening. As you think about preparation for starting this course, you might want to think about which of these skills are productive skills and which skills are receptive skills. When you've thought about that, you've probably come up with the idea that reading and listening are receptive skills. This doesn't mean that they're passive. When you read and listen, you should do so in an active way to make the best use of your inputs. And the inputs that you get for reading and listening are somebody else speaking to you or reading somebody's writing. So you might want to think about ways in which you can read and listen actively, and think about how those skills would differ in a university setting as opposed to a non-university setting. These are all things we'll start to talk about as we begin the module in October. On the other hand, productive skills would be writing and speaking. And these skills, you have to work to produce the output. You're not responding to somebody else's output. Receptive skills always feed into the productive skills. So for example, you would read a book or a journal article, or you would listen to a lecture because you need to write an essay or because you need to give an oral presentation. The Academic Practice module helps you to focus on the aims and outputs of different academic activities to help you get the most out of everything that you do in the university classroom. We also, as well as skills, look at different systems. We look at three main systems: grammar, vocabulary and discourse. In terms of grammar, we look at the different kinds of sentence structure that you need to be successful for different text types in different types of assignment. You don't need to feel scared at the idea of learning grammar. We try not to use too much terminology. We just look at good examples, slightly less good examples, and work out why some of them are more effective expressions than others. We look at how you make different text types, so how a book review might be different from an essay or a lab report, these kind of things. Also, in terms of discourse, you learn to write the different genres, such as a book review or a lab report, but also how to read them and how to interpret what you're reading. In terms of vocabulary, we look at different ways you can learn the vocabulary of your subject area, as well as general vocabulary items that are typically used in higher education. One of the vocabulary research projects that I'm working on with a colleague is the Foundation corpus, known as Focus, and we'll be using that in some of our lessons. This allows you to search through different texts and compare how vocabulary is used in different subjects. What we have here is a screenshot of the word molecule, which we would use teaching with science students, but we also have texts from social science disciplines that we can use to explore how language is really used in the disciplines at Durham University. So the list here shows some topics within this module that we'll focus on this year. There's a large list here, and one of the things you can do before you start is for each one work out whether it's going to be mostly a receptive skills area or a productive skills area. We won't necessarily cover everything on this list in this order, but we will cover it at some point in the year. We have three summative assessments in this module. There's an essay that's worth 40% of the module that you'll do in November. There's a presentation that's worth 25% of the module that you'll do in February, and there's an in-class test that's worth 35% of the module that you'll do in March. Those are the summative assessments, which mean they actually count towards your module grade. Then the formative assessments, which are for practice and to be given feedback. You will do a formative presentation, so you get a chance to practice, a formative bibliography exercise, a critical analysis where you look at some reading and data, and a visit to a lecture in your progressing department so you can think about what your priorities need to be during the foundation year. There are a few different people who will support your learning in this module. You have key skills tutors who will teach the sessions each week and look at the drafts of your work. You'll have an academic advisor who advises you on pastoral issues and also will be your supervisor for your extended research project, which relates to this module. There'll be diaries or wall planners which help you to remember throughout the year what deadlines are coming up, and you'll also be emailed a weekly bulletin to tell you what's going on in the department and the university each week that's important. So there's lots of different support mechanisms that can help you keep up with what you need to be doing. One of the most important skills you'll learn in this year, not just in this module but across the department, is learning who to ask for advice, when to ask for help, and how to start taking control of your learning.